90 days ago, I made myself a promise. I wasn't going to guess where my money was going anymore. I was going to know every dollar, every cent tracked. At first, it felt like a small challenge. Open a note on my phone, write down my coffee, my Uber rides, the bag of chips I bought when I wasn't even hungry. Easy. But then, life happened. A friend's birthday, a sale on sneakers I didn't need, an emergency DoorDash order at 11:30 p.m. when I swore I was cooking at home. The rule was simple. If I spent it, I wrote it. No excuses. And after 3 months, the picture was, well, more like a horror movie than a spreadsheet. I tallied it all up in Google Sheets, column after column, every purchase staring me in the face. Coffee and cafes, $300. I told myself I only grab coffee once in a while. That was a lie. I was averaging $4 a day. Eating out and delivery, $1,200. That's a used iPhone in tacos, burgers, and sushi rolls. Streaming subscriptions, $100. Not huge, but I didn't even remember signing up for one of them. Online shopping, $600. This was the killer. Over half of it was just browsing purchases I forgot about until the package showed up. Transportation, $400. I had a car, I had gas in it, but I was still spending on Ubers because parking is a pain. It was like finding old photos of yourself in a bad haircut, except this haircut was financially bleeding me out. For 90 days, I had been my own private investigator, but the case I was solving was, where is Alex's money going? And the suspect was me. The most brutal part was not the big purchases that sank me. It was the tiny, forgettable ones. The $6 latte, the $12 Postmates fee, the under $20 Amazon order. Every single one of them whispered, "This won't hurt you." And together, they'd taken over $3,000 from me in just 3 months. 3 months of tracking taught me 2 things. 1. I wasn't broke because I didn't earn enough. I was broke because I didn't manage what I had. 2. Awareness is the first weapon. Once you see the leak, you can patch it. But that didn't mean I knew how to fix it yet. Because knowing you're in trouble is one thing. Crawling out of it is another. That's when I decided the next step wasn't tracking. It was building a plan that could survive real life. Not some Pinterest perfect budget. A budget that works in the chaos. But before I could build it, I had to face the emotional mess behind these numbers. When people talk about budgeting, they make it sound like a math problem. You spend too much, so spend less. Boom, done. But if it were that easy, my Google Sheet wouldn't be a crime scene. Budgeting is emotional before it's mathematical. And my emotions, they were running the show. I wasn't buying coffee because I couldn't make it at home, but I was buying coffee because I wanted the feeling. That 5-minute ritual of walking into the cafe, hearing my name called, sipping something warm while scrolling Instagram. It was comfort. It wasn't caffeine, but it was therapy. A $4 therapy session that came with oat milk. The same went for food delivery. I wasn't too busy to cook. I was too tired to decide. Ordering takeout felt like buying myself time and energy. I'd convince myself it's just $18. But $18 3 times a week is $216 a month, enough to cover half my electricity bill. And the worst trap? Lifestyle creep. Every time I got a raise or extra freelance work, I'd upgrade something. Better headphones, nicer sneakers, more expensive nights out. It's like I believed that earning more meant I deserved to spend more. And in that mindset, no paycheck was ever enough. Here's the thing, no one told me. A budget isn't just numbers, it's a mirror. And when you look into that mirror, you're going to see habits you don't like. The purchases you regret. The money you wasted because you didn't want to feel bored or lonely or stressed. If you're not ready for that, budgeting will feel like punishment. I knew this was where most people quit. They track their spending, feel bad about it, and stop. But I wasn't going to stop. Because the 90-day experiment had already done its job. It made me face the truth. And now I had to use that truth to create something that worked for my real life. So I went back to that spreadsheet. I looked at every category and asked one brutal question. If I keep spending like this, where will I be a year from now? The answer scared me. If nothing changed, I'd be in debt. Not from some big emergency, but from 1,000 tiny decisions I didn't even think about while making them. That fear was my turning point. And from that fear came a new idea. What if my budget wasn't about restriction, but about control? Not saying no to everything, but saying yes to the right things. That's when I started designing my first real-life budget. Not a random template from the internet, not some 50-30-20 rule that assumes everyone's life is identical, a budget based on my numbers, my habits, my emotional triggers. I wasn't just going to survive, I was going to run my money instead of letting it run me. The first thing I learned when I sat down to make my real-life budget was this. Budgets aren't supposed to be pretty, they're supposed to be true. My spending looked like a messy fingerprint of my life, every line item telling a little story. I printed out my 90-day spending log and spread it across my table. Groceries, $500 in January, $509 in February, again $500 in March. Coffee shops, every month more than $100. Streaming services, wait, 7 subscriptions? $96 a month for things I barely watched. That's more than $1,000 a year to not watch Netflix. And then there was eating out, which is the monster of my budget. $624 in January, $703 in February, $681 in March. That's $2,000 in 3 months. In other words, enough to fly round trip to Europe twice. No wonder I felt broke. I wasn't poor. I was just spending like I didn't have limits. To overcome this, I followed few steps which also we discussed in last episode. Step 1. Group the chaos. Instead of looking at 200 plus line items, I grouped everything into categories. Housing rent plus utilities, transportation, gas, insurance, rideshare, groceries, dining out, subscriptions, personal spending, clothes, electronics, hobbies, savings, and investments. When I did that, I could see the shape of my spending, and the shape was ugly. Housing was fine, groceries were reasonable, but dining out, subscriptions, and random Amazon orders were eating a hole in my paycheck. Step 2. Set the non-negotiables. Here's where most budgets go wrong. They treat every dollar as optional. But your rent, not optional. Your phone bill, not optional. Your car insurance, definitely not optional. So I listed my non-negotiables first. That gave me a floor, the bare minimum I needed to survive each month. In my case, $2,000. That's the number I can't touch, no matter what. Step 3. Give every dollar a job. Now came the part that scared me, deciding what to do with what was left. Not just leftover money, but intentional money. If I brought home $3,500 after taxes and $2,000 was locked for non-negotiables, that meant $1,500 was up for distribution. But here's the trap. Without a plan, that $1,500 becomes coffee runs, delivery apps, and impulse target trips. So I assigned it jobs. Groceries, $500. Fun dining out, $300. Subscriptions, $40, cutting the rest. Emergency savings, $400. Debt repayment, $200. Investments, $110. Suddenly, my paycheck wasn't just disappearing. It had marching orders. But let me be real, writing numbers down is the easy part. The hard part is sticking to them when your friends text you to go out, or your phone throws a 70% off ad in your face. That's why, for this to work, I needed a tracking system, not just a notebook, not just my memory, a system that would tell me in real time where I stood. Here's the truth about budgeting. It's not the numbers that fail, it's the system. Writing a budget in a notebook is like writing a workout plan on a napkin. It's useless if you can't track it, adjust it, and stick to it when life happens. So I built my budget toolbox. 1. The bank app, which is your baseline. I started with what I already had, my bank's mobile app. Not glamorous, not fancy, but it's the source of truth. Every deposit, every charge, every transfer. In the US, most bank apps like Chase, Bank of America, or Wells Fargo have spending breakdown charts. That's your baseline, the raw data of where your money's actually going. I checked mine daily, like brushing my teeth. 2. The tracking app, my daily scoreboard. I didn't want to just see my spending. I wanted to measure it against my plan. That's where tracking apps came in. Two of the best in the US? YNAB, which means you need a budget. This one's hardcore. Every single dollar gets assigned a job. If you overspend in one category, you have to steal from another. It forces you to make trade-offs. Mint, which is free, easy, and automatic. Links to your accounts, categorizes transactions, and shows trends over time. I went with YNAB. Why? Because it's like having a personal trainer for my money. No excuses. 3. The automation trick. Set it and forget it. One of the biggest reasons budgets fail is because we leave saving for whatever's left. Spoiler, there's never anything left. So I automated my good decisions. The day my paycheck hit, my bank automatically sent $400 to my emergency savings account, sent $110 to my investment account, sent $200 to my credit card debt. That way, I was broke on paper after paying myself first. 4. The envelope method, but make it digital. I'd heard of the old school envelope system where you put cash in envelopes for groceries, dining out, etc. But I'm not walking around with envelopes like it's 1995. Instead, I used Cube Money, a digital version. It gave me digital envelopes, so when I paid for dinner, it came straight out of my dining out cube. When it hit zero, game over. No overdrafts, no cheating. 5. The visual motivation numbers on a screen don't motivate me, but progress does. So I set up a big, dumb, visual chart on my wall. A giant thermometer I colored in every time I added to my savings. Old school? Yes. Effective? You have no idea. The point isn't which tool you use, it's that you use one. Because here's what I learned. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you can't manage it, you can't change it. In 30 days, my spending felt different. In 60, my bank account looked different. In 90, I was different. When I started this journey back in episode 1, I thought budgeting was about cutting back, about saying no to lattes, nights out, and anything fun. Turns out, I was wrong. Budgeting wasn't about living less. It was about living deliberately. The first sign was my money stopped disappearing before I'd check my account on the 20th of the month and panic. Now, I already knew what was there, where it was going, and what was coming next. That little knot of anxiety in my stomach, gone. In its place, I got control. The second sign, I stopped counting pennies. I thought I'd be living like a monk, tracking every cent forever. But after a few months, something changed. I wasn't obsessing anymore because my habits had shifted. Eating out wasn't, oh no, can I afford this? It was, yes, I have $180 left in dining out this month, so let's go. The guilt has gone. The guesswork has gone. The third sign, my savings started feeling heavy. The first time I hit $5,000 in my emergency fund, I swear it felt like a suit of armor. Suddenly, a flat tire wasn't a crisis. A last-minute flight wasn't debt. Life could still throw punches, but I could take them without falling apart. That's the thing nobody tells you. When your budget is working, you don't just see it in your bank app, you feel it in your entire life. I walked differently, talked differently, stopped saying, I'm broke like it was my identity. The lifestyle lock. Here's the real win. Even if I deleted YNAB tomorrow, I'd still budget, without even thinking about it. Because by now, it's not a spreadsheet. It's just me. I question every impulse buy automatically. I think about future me before spending for present me. I get more joy from saving $500 than buying a $500 toy. That's when I knew I wasn't on a budget anymore. I was living by one. And the truth is, that's when you win. Not when you hit a number in your savings account, but when your money finally works for you. So here's the thing, man. It's been exactly 90 days since I started this whole tracking thing. 3 months of writing down every single expense, saying no to impulse buys, and making choices that honestly and sometimes felt boring in the moment. And today, I opened my account. Bro, I almost didn't recognize the number staring back at me. $2,000. That's how much extra I've got sitting there. Not magic money, not lottery money, but just money I didn't blow on crap I didn't need. Let me put that in perspective. That's a full month's rent for a decent apartment. That's a used car paid in cash. That's a weekend trip I could take, if I actually wanted to, without going into debt. And the best part, it's not just the cash. It's the way I feel. I'm not waking up wondering how I'm gonna cover next week's bills. I'm not side-eyeing my bank app, afraid to see the red. I'm in control now. And once you get that feeling, man, you don't ever want to give it back. You know what I realized? Budgeting isn't about the stuff you can't buy. It's about giving yourself the power to buy the stuff that actually matters, without wrecking your future. It's like building a wall between me and the broke version of me. Every dollar I save is another brick in that wall. And now, that wall's getting taller every week. So here's the final truth, bro. Anyone can start this. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need a crazy income. You just need to make that first choice. The choice to pay attention. Because once you see where your money is going, you can finally tell it where to go. So here's where I leave you for now, man. We've gone from chaos to control in just 90 days. You've seen me track, cut, save, and flip the script on my money. And if you've been doing this with me, you're probably feeling that same shift right now. But here's the thing. Saving is just the start. The real game, it's about making your money grow while you sleep. And that's exactly where we're headed next. In the next episode, I'm gonna open a door you probably didn't even know existed. How to take the money you freed up from budgeting and put it to work in ways that multiply it. We're talking smart investing, zero fluff, no Wall Street jargon, and how regular people like you and me can start with as little as $100. So if you've made it this far with me, don't stop now. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, drop a comment telling me how much you've saved in your first 30 days, and I'll see you in episode 3 where the budget becomes your launch pad.